Hello and welcome to FDS News. My name is Nate. I'm your host. Before we get started, I need to throw in a quick correction from last week. I erroneously stated that the Ukiyo full art lands from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty would be 1 in every 10 set and draft booster pack. I was wrong, and it will only be in 1 in every 3 packs. I really can only come up with the excuse that I allowed Uncle Jack to come over. With all the kerfluffle with Kamigawa Neon Dynasty news, an article was overlooked that was released just the day before that we missed. The article, titled 2022 Magic Online State of the Game, which, and I'm speculating here, was originally just the sentence, "Phew, we are really glad Arena has taken all the heat off of us in the MTG community. I mean, hardly anyone talks about how Magic Online looks like something built with GeoCities in 2003 anymore." But the big news is that for 2022, Wizards of the Coast will be outsourcing support for Magic Online to Daybreak Games. While there will be a transition period over the next few months, we don't expect this change to significantly disrupt the general player experience. The current Magic Online team will form a new studio under the Daybreak Games family of studios and will continue to run the game in close collaboration with Wizards of the Coast. We'll take every effort to minimize disruption to the development of card sets, features, and updates, as well as active programs like Redemption and the Magic Online Champions Showcase. On the About Us page of Daybreak Games website, it reads, "Daybreak Game Company is a worldwide leader in massively multiplayer online games and emergent gameplay. Best known for blockbuster hits and franchises H1Z1, EverQuest, EverQuest 2, PlanetSide 2, DC Universe Online. Daybreak also publishes the Lord of the Rings Online and Dungeons & Dragons Online for Standing Stone Games. While many of those games are from a similar genre in terms of flavor as Magic the Gathering, the games themselves are not." Whether this partnership is a mark of the beginning of a new modern era of Magic the Gathering Online, or the first official clang of the death knell, remains to be seen. Since this week has been a little light in the news, something to do about a holiday or other some such nonsense, I thought I would take a moment and discuss something that has been binging around in my head recently. Innistrad Double Feature. This is a special set that is being released on January 28th of 2022. When it was announced during the August 24th MTG Showcase for 2022, it was stated that it would be a combination of cards from Innistrad Midnight Hunt and Innistrad Crimson Vow, and there would be special art treatment on all of the cards.
So in 2022, coming to WPN stores is Innistrad Double Feature.
Ooh, okay.
So we asked ourselves two things. Hey, we've got Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt.
Okay.
Why don't we put them together for a draft experience?
Oh, okay.
And then we also asked ourselves, hey, we're really inspired by classic monster movies.
Nice.
Why don't we do really cool collectible versions of our cards that are inspired by classic monster movies? So we smushed those together into a draft or a draft electable experience.
Delectable experience.
Yes.
To monsters, maybe.
To monsters, and perhaps to anyone who would like to go to their WPN store and crack some packs.
Sounds amazing. So now does double feature cards from the new set?
It features cards from both sets, Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow.
That is so cool. Okay.
Now, before I get to the article where they revealed the special art treatment along with the details of the set, I wanted to point out a few things. If you notice, the box art for Double Feature seems to heavily evoke the Universal movie monsters of the early days of Hollywood, which would make sense considering the product name refers to the double features in movie theaters that early horror films were often a part. Not to mention that Innistrad is a set that is heavily inspired by early horror and science fiction. This seemed like a perfect way to close the loop, to have a special draft set featuring cards from both of the most recent Innistrad sets with special art treatments leaning into the horror film aesthetic. Now, before you spelunk down to the comments and say, "They never explicitly stated any of that," you're right, they didn't. Along the same lines, many of the fanbase also assumed the cards from both Innistrad sets would be a curated list of cards to better enhance the draft experience. Mainly because this is supposed to be a draft product, and originally these two sets were not designed to be drafted together. Wizards never explicitly mentioned anything about curation either. But all of this was implied. Whether intentionally or not, a certain impression was given of what the set would look like. While the details could have been different, not necessarily Universal movie monsters in terms of art, for example, but at least the characters from the genre seemed a given. And the announcement later that Crimson Vow would have the Dracula treatment of cards basically broadcast the confirmation that this was the case, or so we thought. Then November 15th arrived and Wizards decided to drop a proverbial lump of coal early in all of our collective stockings. And I did some checking over the lists of cards included in Double Feature from Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow. And it's all of them. I couldn't find any significant omissions from either set. Alright, the curation assumption was wrong. And of all the assumptions, it was the furthest stretch in terms of what they said the set would be. While there was a hint at curation, it was only a hint. Now let's talk about the special art treatment. Yeah. Black and white. No new art, just black and white. Or grayscale, or whatever. They just yanked the slider on the desaturation bar all the way to the left on all the art and called it good. The frames are a little different, and there is a super special silver screen foil treatment, but that's about it. Now, the realist in me recognizes that expecting them to create new art for 2 sets worth of cards for a special draft event product is a bit of a tall order. But hear me out. If they had curated the cards down to a single set worth, and maybe even just limited new art to rares and mythics, and then had all the other cards be black and white, then maybe it would be achievable. Just maybe. And if they had done that, then maybe I would have been fine with spending a little extra on the booster box, because they went the extra mile and did something really cool that, again, they heavily implied they were going to do anyway. Or even a lot extra because, didn't you hear? Because of the whole double rare thing and a foil in every booster, a booster box is going for around $230 for 24 boosters as of recording. Yeah, they're charging extra for the whole lack of color thing. I can tell you that I had planned on buying a booster box, and I had planned on making a special set cube for Innistrad Double Feature. Well, guess what? Those plans went the same way as the planned sequels to the Tom Cruise 2017 Mummy movie. They ain't happening. Like, subscribe, click on that. This show is part of the CIP network, inspiring creativity, one episode at a time.